January 29th, 1945. Holtziam, Belgium. First Sergeant Leonard Funk is walking around the corner of a farmhouse when he suddenly stops. He sees a lot of soldiers staring at him. 90 to be exact. Some of them half are already holding guns. The other half are bending down to pick up rifles from a pile on tea ground. First Sergeant Leonard Funk also sees 4 GIs, his own men, kneeling in the snow with their hands behind their heads. It is really strange because these German soldiers were prisoners 20 minutes ago. First Sergeant Leonard Funk and his company had captured 80% of these soldiers when they attacked this village. There are 4 men watching over them, which is all they can manage to spare. Now these men are free. They have weapons, and they are getting ready to attack Company C from behind. A German officer comes forward. He sticks an MP-40 submachine gun into Funk's stomach. The officer yells something in German. Funk does not understand German. The other American men do not understand German either. The officer yells again louder this time, and his face is getting really red. Funk looks at the 90 Germans, then he looks at his 4 soldiers who do not have their guns, then he looks at the MP-40 that is pressed against his stomach. He starts laughing. The officer's face gets all confused, then it gets really angry. He starts screaming louder. Funk laughs harder. What happens next is very quick. It takes then 60 seconds. 21 Germans will get killed. The rest of the Germans will throw down their guns, give up. Leonard Funk will get the Medal of Honor for one of the craziest things that happened in World War II, which is a really big deal. Leonard Funk is a hero. The Medal of Honor is an award for Leonard Funk. This all happened because he just could not stop laughing. Leonard Alfred Funk Jr. was born on August 27, 1916 in Braddock Township, Pennsylvania. This was a steel town with smokestacks and foundries all along the Monongahela River, which has about 8 miles east of Pittsburgh. Leonard Alfred Funk Jr. had to grow up fast. He learned to be responsible at a young age. By the time Leonard Alfred Funk Jr. finished school, in 1934, he had already been taking care of his younger brother for a lot of years. At that time, the country was going through a tough time. It was the 5th year of the Great Depression. It was very hard to find a job. Going to college was a dream that most people could not afford. June 1941 was a bad time. There was a war going on in Europe and Asia. The Congress decided to make more people join the army. Funk's name was picked. He had to go to the induction center in Willingsburg, Pennsylvania. Funk was 24 years old at that time. He was 5 feet 5 inches tall, weighed 140 pounds. The doctor who checked him out probably thought he would be good for office work. The doctor was wrong. Funk wanted to be a paratrooper. At that time, the American paratroopers were just starting out. The idea of jumping out of a plane to fight the enemy was very new. It meant jumping out of a good plane and landing behind the enemy lines to fight. This was a tough thing to do. 2 soldiers, this sounds like a really bad idea. The people who volunteer for this are a kind of person. They have to be tough. The training for soldiers is meant to push you to your limits. You have to go through 5 weeks of running and jumping and climbing and falling. It is very hard. A lot of people cannot do it. About half of the people who try do not make it. Then you have to practice jumping from towers. After that, you get to jump from an airplane. The time you jump from a C-47 plane that is 1,200 feet in the air, it is very scary. Your body wants you to grab the door of the plane and hold on tight. The ground looks far away. The wind really hits you hard when you're there. Your parachute is basically some fabric and strings, and you have to have faith that it will work. Funk gets his jump wings, which is a big deal. Then he gets sent to Company C, 1st Battalion, 508th Parachute Infantry Regiment, which is based at Camp Landing in Florida. The 508th heads to England towards the end of 1943. When they get there, they join the 82nd Airborne Division. This is a unit known as the All-Americans. The men in this unit are veterans of Sicily and Italy. They have already been in some tough fights. The 82nd Airborne Division men have already had to jump into combat, which is incredibly scary. They have already had to kill people. They have already seen their friends get killed. Funk is the guy in the group. He is 27 years old, which is really old for a paratrooper. Most of the guys in his squad are just barely 20 years old. Funk has something that they do not have. He is mature and steady. He has a quiet way of doing things that makes men want to follow him. By the time they get to D-Day, he is in charge of his squad. By the end of it all, he will be the acting company executive officer. First, though Funk has to make it through Normandy. It is June 6th, 1944. The time is 1:30 in the morning. The C-47 Skytrain is shaking really badly as flak explodes around it. Funk and the paratroopers are on the Skytrain, and they are getting ready to jump into Normandy. The situation is really scary. Funk has to be brave if he wants to survive. The paratroopers are counting on Funk to lead them. He has to make sure they all make it through this together. Funk is standing in the stick, feeling really nervous. There is a line of paratroopers waiting to jump out of the plane. A arch of TMAS, 60 pounds of equipment strapped to their body. Funk has an M1A1 Thompson submachine gun and a lot of stuff like ammunition and grenades. They also have food, which is called rations, and a medical kit, in case someone gets hurt. The aircraft is flying low, only 400 feet above the ground, which is too low for a safe jump. The pilots cannot make the plane go higher. There is a lot of anti-aircraft fire all around them. You can see tracers flying through the sky. They look like angry fireflies. The men can hear the sound of fragments hitting the plane. It sounds like pinging off the fuselage. German anti-aircraft fire and tracers from the fire are making the situation very scary. For the paratroopers, for Funk and his M1A1 Thompson submachine gun. The Normandy invasion has a lot of paratroopers, around 13,000 of them from the 82nd and 101st Airborne Divisions. The Normandy invasion is a deal. These paratroopers are supposed to land behind the beaches. Their job is to secure bridges and crossroads. They also have to prevent reinforcements from reaching the coast. Nothing goes according to plan in the Normandy invasion. The green light comes on. Funk jumps out of the plane. The blast from the propeller hits him like a truck. Then his parachute. Everything gets very quiet. Below Funk is France. It is occupied France. There is enemy territory in every direction. The D-Day airborne operation, which is part of the Normandy invasion, is very chaotic. From the first minute of the Normandy invasion, the German anti-aircraft fire has really messed up the formations there over the place across 50 miles of the French countryside. Some paratroopers are landing in fields that are totally flooded. They are drowning because their equipment is too heavy. Some of them are even landing in the middle of German camps, which is just terrible. They do not stand a chance. They die before they can even get out of their harnesses. Funk lands hard. His ankle gets twisted when he hits the ground. It is badly sprained. It might even be broken. The pain starts away. It is extremely bad. For the 2 weeks, every single step Funk takes is going to hurt like crazy. It will be pure agony for German paratroopers like Funk. German paratroopers, including Funk, are going to have a time because of this bad situation. This guy can fight, and that is all that really matters. He picks up his parachute, buries it. Then he starts moving. T-drop zone is 40 miles away from him. That is 40 miles of territory that the Germans control. He has to go through it in the dark, all by himself. After hours, he meets some other paratroopers who are lost. These men are from units and different companies, and even different regiments. Eventually, there are 18 of them. They all need someone to lead them. Funk is the one who gives them the leadership they need. Funk is the leader of these lost paratroopers now. Leonard Funk is in charge of this group for 10 days. They have to go through the area that the Germans control. Leonard Funk and his men travel at night, hide during the day. They fight when they have to. Leonard Funk wants to be the scout even though his ankle is hurt. He puts himself in the dangerous spot so he can keep his men safe. After a while, Leonard Funk and his men meet up with the Allied forces on June 17th. Every single one of Leonard Funk's men makes it out alive. There are no casualties. Leonard Funk and his men were behind enemy lines for 10 days. They had to go through 40 miles of France that the Germans were in control of. Leonard Funk brings all of his men home. The Silver Star is a deal. It is the third highest award you can get for being brave in combat. Funk also got a Bronze Star for doing a job and his first Purple Heart. Funk is just getting started with all of this. On September 17th, 1944, something big happened in Holland. This was called Operation Market Garden. It was the airborne attack ever. Asterisk. 35,000 paratroopers jumped out of planes into the Netherlands. Asterisk. They had to capture a lot of bridges across the Rhine River. The British, American, and Polish forces all worked together. If this plan works, the Allies will be in Germany by Christmas. Field Marshal Montgomery came up with this plan. It is very ambitious, maybe even too ambitious. The Silver Star and these other awards are important to Funk. Operation Market Garden is a part of the war, and Funk is right in the middle of it. The paratroopers are supposed to take control of 7 bridges that are spread out over 64 miles of land in the Netherlands. The army on the ground is going to rush up one road to meet up with the paratroopers. The paratroopers need to be fast and surprise the enemy if they want to succeed. Nothing can go wrong. The paratroopers run into trouble. The British 1st Airborne Division lands in Arnhem, which is the bridge that is the farthest away. They are surrounded by SS Panzer divisions, which they did not expect to find. The British 1st Airborne Division fights for 9 days in the streets of Arnhem. A lot of men die in the streets. 2,000 men of the British 1st Airborne Division make it out of 10,000 men. The story of the Bridge Far is something that people will remember for a long time as a warning. Leonard Funk does not think about that. He just thinks about what he has to do. His job is to help the soldiers who are landing make sure the areas where the planes drop them are safe and fight the Germans. When he gets to the ground, his company does what it is supposed to do. They take care of their task. The 5008th is working near Nijmegen. They are helping to take control of bridges that the army can use to move forward. Then Leonard Funk sees something that is not supposed to happen. The Bridge Far is still on his mind, but he has to focus on his mission. The bridge too far and what it means will have to wait. The German 20mm flak Velling aircraft guns are shooting at the Allied gliders that are coming in. These Allied gliders have a lot of stuff on them, like reinforcements, jeeps, artillery pieces, ammunition, and medical supplies. If the German 20mm flak Velling aircraft guns do not stop firing, a lot of men will get hurt or die before they even touch the ground. The German 20mm flak Velling aircraft guns are in a good spot on high ground near There are 20 German soldiers taking care of the German 20mm flak Velling anti-aircraft guns and making sure everything is safe. They have sandbags and camouflage to hide them, and they can shoot at the same area from different angles. Funk only has 3 men with him. The usual rule in the military is that you need to have 3 times many people as the other side to attack a position that is ready for you. Funk does not have that. The other side has 7 times many people as he does. Funk and his team of 3 men still decide to attack the position. Funk goes first. His team follows him. They attack the guards, take the gun positions, and make sure the German guns are not working. There are 20 soldiers and only 3 American soldiers. The German guns stop firing. The gliders are able to land. The Distinguished Service Cross is a big deal. It is the highest award you can get for being very brave. The only award that is higher is the Medal of Honor. Funk has gotten a lot of awards. He has a Silver Star and a Distinguished Service Cross. These are 2 of the awards to get in the American military. If you get one of these awards, people think you are a hero forever. Funk is not done yet. On December 16th, 1944, the Germans made one big attack. They had 3 armies, 400,000 men, 1,400 tanks, and 1,900 big guns that can shoot far away. The Germans crash through the lines in the Ardennes forest, and they are heading for the port of Antwerp. Hitler's plan is really crazy. It almost works. Hitler is putting everything into this one attack. The German army wants to split the Allied armies and capture Antwerp. This will force the Americans and the other allies to negotiate a peace in the west. Then Germany can focus on fighting the Soviets in the east. For the Americans, this is a situation. The German offensive is hitting areas that are not well protected. These areas are manned by new troops and tired veterans who are taken out of the fight to rest. The American divisions are falling apart. The Germans are making a push, and the Americans are struggling to hold back the German army in the Ardennes forest and at the port of Antwerp. A lot of soldiers are giving up. The German army is moving forward. This is making a big hole in the lines of the Allied forces. This is what people call the Battle of the Bulge. The Battle of the Bulge is the fight that the American army will have in World War II. There are 89,000 soldiers who get hurt before it is all over. The weather is really bad. It is icy, and the temperature is going down to 5 degrees below zero. Some men are freezing to death in their foxholes. The guns are not working because they are all jammed. The cars and trucks will not start. The cold weather is just as bad as the army. Then something happens at Normandy. This happens on December 17th, 1944. The Battle of the Bulge is a tough fight. One day into the fighting, a group of vehicles from the Field Artillery Observation Battalion is traveling near the Bognes crossroads when they meet the lead troops of Kampfgruppe Piper, a tough SS armored battle group. The Americans in the Field Artillery Observation Battalion are support troops. They are the ones who watch the enemy and send messages back to their own people. They do not have the weapons they need to fight against tanks and soldiers and vehicles. After a battle, 113 Americans give up. The Americans are taken to a field near the crossroads that belongs to a farmer. They have to put their hands up and they are not allowed to have any weapons. They are now prisoners of war of the Kampfgruppe Piper. The SS starts shooting. They use machine guns and pistols and rifles. The Germans are shooting the Americans like they are animals. The men who try to run are shot down. The men who get hurt and fall down are killed with a shot to the head. A lot of Americans die in that field, 84 of them. Some Americans survive by pretending to be dead. They lie in the snow for a time. They hear German boots walking near them. German voices laughing. When it gets dark, some of the Americans who are still alive, 43 of them, crawl away and make it back to the American side. The American army finds out what happened. The Germans are killing prisoners within hours. This is all because of what happened at Malmi. Before the war in Europe, there were rules that everyone followed, even if they were not written down. When soldiers were in a situation, they would give up. Prisoners were treated fairly, like the Geneva Convention said. There was a sense of respect between enemies, even if it was not in one. After what happened at Malmi, all of those rules are gone. American soldiers are saying that they will never give up to the SS. Some groups are even telling their men to not take any SS prisoners. When Funk finds out about the massacre at Malmi, he feels something inside of him change. The Germans and the rules and the war and the prisoners in Malmi are all on his mind now. Leonard Funk has already seen much. He has been to Normandy and Holland. He has seen his friends die in fields and forests all across Europe. What is happening now is different ties as mortar. The Germans are killing men who gave up and did not fight back. Leonard Funk decides that he will never give up to the Germans. He will never surrender to them. This decision is very important. It will matter a lot very soon. It is January 29th, 1945. Leonard Funk is in Tierrdens. The German attack has been stopped. Now the Allies are fighting back. They are winning. Leonard Funk and the Allies are pushing the Germans back. Company C, which is part of the parachute infantry, receives orders to take over the Belgian village of Holzheim. 'Tis a task. The problem is that Company C does not have men. The executive officer, who is second in command, was killed. They are short on men to carry out the attack. Now Funk has to take on the role of officer. He checks the list of men in his company. Makes a decision. He goes to the company headquarters tent. There are people like clerks and supply personnel and cooks inside. These are men who usually do not fight. Funk tells them that things are going to change. Company C is going to capture the village of Holzheim. He needs all the men he can get. He says to the men, "In the tent, you are all part of the infantry now." Funk tells them that it is time to get ready. "Grab your weapons," he says. "We're going to take that village." He makes a group of soldiers, 30 men who have been working behind desks for most of the war. These men have had some training. They have never really been in a fight. Most of them have never even shot at another person. Funk does not care about this. He just needs people to fight. He will teach them how to be soldiers. The walk to Holim is very hard. It is 15 miles through deep snow and a big storm. The snow is up to our waists. It is also very cold, below freezing. German artillery shells are going off around them and they are getting shot at from the sides. Funk is out in front, leading the way. They make it to Holzheim. Then Funk gets everything to attack the village. His clerks, who are not really soldiers, follow him into the village. There are 15 houses in the village, and Germans are hiding in every one of them. Funk and his men use machine guns, rifles, and grenades to clear out the houses. They do a job, and they capture 30 German prisoners. Luckily, none of the soldiers get hurt. Another group of Americans captures 50 Germans on the other side of the village, so in total they capture 80 prisoners. The prisoners are gathered in the yard of a farmhouse. Funk looks over at his men. They are completely worn out. The men have been fighting for a very long time. There is still fighting going on in parts of the village. There are soldiers all over the place who have not given up yet. Funk can only leave 4 men to watch the prisoners. He says to the guards, Keep the prisoners, also size. We will send men to help when we can. Then Funk goes back to the fighting. He has no idea what is going to happen behind him with the prisoners. Funk is taking care of the rest of all time. At the time, a German patrol is coming towards the farmhouse. There are a lot of men, around 10 or 20, and they're all wearing white capes over their uniforms. This makes them look a lot like troops who are wearing winter gear. The snow it is all very confusing. The 4 guards do not see the danger that is coming until it is too late. The Germans are too strong for them. They take away the guards' guns. Make them get down on their knees. Then the Germans let the prisoners go. Now there are a lot of soldiers, around 80 of them plus the patrol that came to free them. In total, there are 90 soldiers. The German patrol and the German soldiers they freed. The German soldiers and the German patrol are all together now. The soldiers grab weapons from the pile. They get organized fast. They know what they are going to do. They will attack Company C from the rear. Funk's company is over the village, taking care of the people who are still fighting back. They do not think anyone will attack them from behind. If 90 Germans attack them while they are spread out, it will be very bad for them. The German officer in charge, a lieutenant or a captain, starts telling people what to do. He says to put the machine guns here. He says to set up the ambush there. The German soldiers are getting ready to attack Company C from the rear. The German officer is making sure everything is ready. He wants to make sure that Company C does not know what is happening until it is too late. The German soldiers are quiet and still waiting for the signal to attack. They are waiting for the German officer to tell them when to start. The German officer is looking at Company C, making sure they are still not expecting an attack from behind. He is waiting for the moment to give the order to attack. Wait for my signal. That is when Leonard Funk walks around the corner. Leonard Funk has come to check on the prisoners. This is a routine check. Leonard Funk wants to make sure the guards are okay. He also wants to see if any more soldiers have arrived to help. Leonard Funk is not expecting to walk into a situation with 90 Germans. He rounds the corner of the farmhouse. Then he freezes. The scene in front of him is really surreal. His 4 guards are on their knees in the snow. The prisoners, who should not have any guns and should be locked up, are standing around holding rifles in their hands and getting ready for a fight. The German officer sees Funk away. The stripes on his sleeve show that he is in charge, and that makes him a big catch. The officer walks up to Funk, sticks his MP40 into Funk's stomach, and yells at him to surrender in German. He tells Funk to drop his weapon. Funk does not understand German. He has no idea what the officer wants him to do. The officer yells again, louder this time. His face is very red, and the veins in his neck are sticking out. Funk looks around, sees that there are 90 German soldiers, and half of them have guns. The German officer is still yelling at Funk. Funk does not know what to do, because he does not speak German. Leonard Funk is in a bad spot. His 4 men are helpless. There is 1 American soldier standing beside him, and he is equally helpless. The chances of them getting out of this situation alive are 0. There is no way Leonard Funk can win this fight. He is outnumbered by an amount 90-1. The smart thing to do would be to give up. Leonard Funk thinks about Normandy. He remembers what happened there. 84 Americans were killed in a field shot and left to freeze in the snow. This is something that Leonard Funk will never forget. He has already made up his mind that he will never give up to the Germans. So if surrendering, Leonard Funk does something that does not make sense. Funk starts laughing. Nobody knows why Funk laughed. Maybe Funk was just trying to trick the people and get some time to think. Maybe Funk was really stressed out. When people think they are going to die, they can do some weird things. Maybe Funk actually thought something was funny. The whole situation was just so silly. There was this officer yelling at Funk in a language Funk did not understand, and the officer expected Funk to do what he said. Funk said later that he tried to stop laughing. He just could not. Something about the officer yelling in German made Funk laugh even harder. The situation is really bad. The German officer is yelling loudly. Funk is laughing harder. Ace bin Dorber, his shoulders are shaking. He is calling out to his men. I do not know what he is saying. Some of the soldiers are starting to laugh too. This is very strange. The German officer is getting very angry. His face is turning purple. This American guy will not stop laughing. The German officer is totally confused. This is not what he expected from a prisoner. Prisoners usually ask for mercy. They try to make deals. They do what they are told. The German officer is not used to this kind of behavior from prisoners. Funk is still. The German officer does not know how to react. The German officer does not stand there laughing while Leonard Funk shoves a gun in his stomach. For critical seconds, the German officer does not know what to do with Leonard Funk. Leonard Funk uses those few seconds to his advantage. Leonard Funk is still appearing to laugh. Leonard Funk slowly reaches up toward his Thompson submachine gun. The Thompson submachine gun is slung over Leonard Funk's shoulder, which is the standard carrying position for paratroopers like Leonard Funk. The German officer watches Leonard Funk. This is good for Leonard Funk because the German officer thinks that Leonard Funk is finally surrendering his Thompson submachine gun. Leonard Funk's hand closes around the grip of the Thompson submachine gun. He starts to untangle it carefully. The German becomes a little more relaxed. He's about to capture another prisoner, another person to show off. Then Funk suddenly moves faster than you can think. He swings the Thompson down, points it at the target, pulls the trigger. The M1A1, Thompson shoots 45 ACP rounds quickly, about 600 rounds in 1 minute. When it is close to the target, each round hits hard, like a big hammer. The bullets do not just hurt, they cause a lot of damage. The first burst of bullets hits the officer right in the chest. 30 rounds go off in then 3 seconds. The officer is dead before his body even hits the ground. Funk just keeps going and going, he cannot stop. The moment he started shooting, he knew he had to keep going until he killed everyone or died himself. There is no in between. Funk turns around, still shooting his gun. The Thompson gun is spraying bullets over the German soldiers who are closest to him. Men are falling down. Blood is spraying everywhere across the snow. Empty bullet shells are flying through the air. They are steaming because of the cold weather. Then the magazine is empty. 30 rounds are gone in a few seconds. This is the moment when everything's on the line. If you are really good with a Thompson, it takes 2 seconds to reload. 2 seconds can feel like a really long time when people are shooting at you. In 2 seconds, a lot of things can happen, like a bunch of Germans killing one American soldier. Funk quickly pulls out the magazine, puts a new one in, gets the gun ready and starts shooting again. He does all of this in the time it takes to blink. It is like his body is doing everything on its own. When you practice something thousands of times, it becomes easy. You can do it fast. For Funk, reloading his Thompson is something he can do without thinking about it. The American is yelling at his guys. He wants them to grab their guns. The 4 guards are still on their knees. They jump up to get the rifles that the dead German soldiers dropped. A little while ago, these guys were captives. Now they are fighting to stay alive. The Germans are really confused. Their leader is dead. The American who was laughing a minute ago is now shooting at them. Nobody told them to do this. Nobody knows what is going on. Some of the Germans start shooting at the American and his men. Bullets are flying past Funk's head. One bullet hits the soldier who is standing next to him, and it kills him. Funk does not stop. He just keeps on firing his gun and moving around and killing the soldiers. Now his guards also have guns. They are shooting at the Germans. The Germans are getting shot at from all sides. They did not expect this to happen. It only takes 1 minute. That's 60 seconds. After 1 minute, 21 German soldiers are dead. They are lying in the snow. 24 German soldiers are hurt. The rest of the soldiers, and there are more than 40 of them, have thrown down their guns, and they've put up their hands. The German soldiers are prisoners again. The prisoners are prisoners again. Funk and his men have won this fight. Leonard Funk is standing in the middle of all the damage with smoke coming up from his Thompson. There are buddies around him. He tells his men that what just happened was the thing he has ever seen. Now that it is over, it feels pretty quiet. Company C has taken control of Holzheim. The German soldiers who were caught, the ones who are still alive, are being taken away with a lot more guards watching them this time. Leonard Funk tells his boss what happened. It was another fight. Just another day of war. Leonard Funk and his men are used to this kind of thing happening. The war is just full of days like this for Leonard Funk. The story of what happened spreads like crazy through the regiment, the division, and finally, the whole 82nd Airborne. People are talking about the sergeant who laughed in the face of 90 soldiers and then killed half of them with a Tommy gun. When the recommendation for the Medal of Honor gets to Washington, nobody has any doubts about it. What Funk did at Holzheim is a fact. He was outnumbered, 90-1, and a German weapon was stuck in his gut. He did not give up. Instead, Funk attacked. The official report says a German officer told him to surrender and even pushed a machine pistol into his stomach. First, Sergeant Funk was in a bad spot. It seemed like he was going to die for sure. He did not give up. He pretended to do what the German officer told him to do. He started to take his submachine gun off his shoulder. Then he moved fast and pointed the gun at the German officer. He shot the officer. Then he turned to the other Germans. He was firing his gun, yelling at the other American soldiers to take the Germans' weapons. September 5th, 1945. The White House. President Harry Truman put the Medal of Honor around Leonard Funk's neck. Truman says that he would rather have this medal than be the President of the United States. Now let us look at what Leonard Funk did during World War II. He got the Medal of Honor for something he did in Haarlem. He also got the Distinguished Service Cross for using aircraft guns in Holland. Leonard Funk got the Silver Star for leading 18 men through 40 miles of enemy territory in Normandy. He got the Bronze Star for doing a job, and the Purple Heart, not just one but 3 of them. Leonard Funk was wounded 3 times, and he just kept on fighting. The Medal of Honor that Leonard Funk got is a big deal. Leonard Funk did many brave things during World War II. The Croix de Guerre from France is a deal, and so is the Order of Leopold from Belgium, and the Military Order of William from the Netherlands, which is like their version of the Victoria Cross. Leonard Funk is the decorated paratrooper of World War II, and that is really something. He's 5 feet 5 inches tall and weighs 140 pounds. Before the war, Leonard Funk was a store clerk. He became a legend. The war, finally, Leonard Funk goes home. What is interesting about Leonard Funk is that he does not write a book about his experiences. He also does not do the lecture circuit. He does not use his Medal of Honor to start a speaking career or to get into politics. Leonard Funk just goes back to his life. He does not use his fame to get money. He goes back to Pennsylvania, gets a job with the Veterans Administration. The Veterans Administration is an organization that takes care of America's former soldiers. He helps veterans with the paperwork and the disability claims. He makes sure they get what they deserve. This is the kind of job he had before the war. It is work, and not very exciting, but it is necessary. The Veterans Administration is a bureaucracy, but he is happy to do this work to help the men who need it. He wants to help the men who gave everything for their country and now need help getting what they are owed. Leonard Funk has been sitting at a desk for 27 years. He is helping veterans. Leonard Funk gets a promotion, becomes the division chief of the Pittsburgh regional office. He gets a salary and works steady hours. He will also get a pension when he retires. His wife Gertrude stays with him the time. Leonard Funk and Gertrude have 2 daughters. They live in McKeesport, Pennsylvania. It is a neighborhood where people work hard to make a living. The town is also a working-class town. It is not far from where Leonard Funk grew up. The Medal of Honor is hanging in a case. Leonard Funk has the Medal of Honor, the Distinguished Service Cross, the Silver Star, and all the foreign decorations from France and Belgium and the Netherlands. These are the medals he got. He never talks about them, though. When people ask him about what happened at Holzheim or the time he was laughing or the 90 Germans, he just shrugs it off. He says he did what he had to do. That is it. The Distinguished Service Cross and the Silver Star are medals he never talks about. He only says that when people ask him about Holzheim and the 90 Germans. On November 20th, 1992, something sad happened. Leonard Alfred Funk Jr. died of cancer in Braddock Hills, Pennsylvania. Leonard Alfred Funk Jr. was 76 years old when he died. They buried Leonard Alfred Funk Jr. at Arlington National Cemetery. Section 35, Grabe 23,734. Leonard Funk is buried among the heroes of every war. When Leonard Funk died, he was the surviving Medal of Honor recipient from the 82nd Airborne Division in World War II. There is a fitness center at Fort Bragg, which is now called Fort Liberty. It is named after Leonard Funk. A highway in Pennsylvania also bears the name of Leonard Funk. In 2023, a post office in McSport was dedicated to Leonard Funk. Most people do not know who Leonard Funk is. They know who Audie Murphy is. People know about Alvin York, the Medal of Honor recipient. They do not know about the quiet paratrooper Leonard Funk who laughed at 90 German soldiers and killed 21 of them with a Tommy gun. The story of Leonard Funk tells us something. War is not about being big. It is not about being strong. War is not about being reckless or fearless. War is about the people who keep thinking when everyone else has given up. Leonard Funk had every reason to give up at Holzheim. The situation was really bad. It was 90 against one guy. Someone was holding a gun to his stomach. All of his men were already caught. Any normal person would have just given up. Funk was not thinking about the situation. He was thinking about Normandy. He was thinking about those 84 Americans who were killed in a field. He was thinking about how the Germans treated their prisoners. He was thinking about his own men, the 4 guards who were on their knees, and the other soldiers who were all around the village and would be attacked from behind if these German soldiers got away. He laughed. Maybe it was a trick. Maybe he was really stressed, or maybe the whole situation just seemed crazy to him. And while the German officer was confused and everyone else was caught off guard, Leonard Funk made his move. 1 minute later, Funk was standing in a field of bodies, and he was still alive, which is really amazing because he should have been killed. There is a quote that President Truman said about the Medal of Honor. President Truman said he would rather have the Medal of Honor than be the President of the United States. President Truman said this to Leonard Funk. September 5th, 1945. The White House, Rose Garden. Just think about it. The President of the United States, the powerful man in the world, was standing there. This was the man who had just stopped World War II. He was the man who was going to change the world. He was looking at a little guy, a man who was only 5 feet 5 inches tall, a former store clerk from Pennsylvania. The President of the United States said to this man, "I would rather be you." The reason President Truman said this was because he understood something. Anyone who reads about the people who got the Medal of Honor understands this too. Being brave is not about how big you are, how strong you are, or what kind of training you have. The Medal of Honor recipients, these are the people who show us what courage really is. Courage is what the Medal of Honor recipients have. That is what President Truman saw in that little guy from Pennsylvania. Courage is what you do when there's a gun in your stomach and 90 men want you dead.